we've been doing a bit more than that.
Are you going to sue him?
You heard what he said.
Are you going to take legal action?
You heard what he said and what's been said.
He says he's going to, and that's what I've become accustomed to with Frank. He needs to relax. It's not to do with me or him. It's nothing. It never is. And as I say, questions were passed on, and that's it, to be honest.
Frank Warren, promoter of Queensberry Promotions, has strongly responded to Ben Shalom's statements, who implied that the gloves used by Fabio Wardley in his victory over Fraser Clarke deserve to be investigated. He didn't pull any punches, as he called him stupid and Inspector Clueless, over his suggestion the gloves were tampered with, but Shalom has denied any accusations being made. He told Sportsman Boxing, "Clarke had a horrific break, but that was caused by a vicious punch. We'll look at what the glove situation is there. I won't get too much into it, but there was a lot of talk during the week as to the gloves that were being worn by Fabio Wardley. The doctor said to me, there's no way in hell any boxing glove should be able to have that level of damage." He added, "It's something that we are looking at very carefully at the moment with our team, not just for Big Fraser's sake, but these customized gloves that have started to get introduced. The word customized, the fact that they're different, you gotta look at it, and as I say, I'm not going to get too much into it because it's an ongoing process. But during the week, we were warned repeatedly by Fraser's team around what gloves could be being used. That's no excuse. Fraser lost the fight fair and square. It's the damage that it can cause, and it will, and that will have to be looked at." Frank Warren found himself frustrated by Ben Shalom's comments. He considered the statement not only foolish, but also slanderous. To him, the implications behind the inspector's words were utterly false and unfounded. Warren couldn't understand how anyone could draw such misguided conclusions, and he felt compelled to defend his reputation against the baseless accusations.
Well, I don't know what he's investigating, Inspector Clueless. I just think it's the most stupid statement and slanderous statement that you could make. I mean, what he's inferring or what he's saying is totally...
According to Warren, these gloves were provided by the event promoter, Queensberry Promotions, which organized the event in Riyadh. Warren explained in detail the process of glove selection and supervision, from their sealed delivery to the final inspection in the dressing rooms, where they were placed in front of the opposing team and reviewed by the referee in the ring. In Warren's words, if Ben had such a problem with the gloves, why didn't he attend the rules meeting and bring it up? He also noted that Clarke's coach was the only one present at the meeting, and while he initially expressed that he didn't like the fly gloves, he accepted that they were approved, thus ending the matter. Additionally, Warren lashed out at Shalom, calling him Inspector Clueless and criticizing him for raising the issue of the gloves without having evidence or an ongoing investigation. Fraser acknowledged he was beaten fair and square, and that should be the end of it. It's madness, Warren added. He also called the situation an unnecessary distraction that took attention away from what was a great night of boxing in Riyadh. In an interview, Ben Shalom clarified his role as the promoter, emphasizing that when he received questions from the team or the doctor, it was his responsibility to pass them on. He made it clear that he was not the regulator and that they would ultimately make any decisions. Shalom stated there was no excuse for the loss or the fight, asserting that nothing should detract from Fabio Wardley's performance. He explained that his remark about passing on questions was merely a casual comment made during a conversation with a sponsor.
First of all, I'm the promoter. When I have questions from the team, when I have questions from the doctor, it's my job to pass them on. I'm not the regulator, they'll make that decision. It was no excuse for the loss, no excuse for the fight, nothing to take away from Fabio Wardley. I think it was done in an interview with a sponsor as a passing comment that we have passed on questions. That's it. We're not the regulator. And
was that to Neil Scott, the Chief Medical Officer, was it? Or
there's been comments made by members of the team and members of a medical team that I have to pass on. We're not accusing of any wrongdoing whatsoever.
That's good to know. Yeah,
absolutely.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
So, Adam Azim, where do you take him on Saturday night if he wins?
According to Warren, everything in the event was approved by the British Boxing Board of Control. So, if Shalom is alleging something deceitful in the event, he is indirectly accusing Warren himself. I am the promoter of that event. It was a British Boxing Board of Control event. It was me, the licensed promoter. So what he's saying is that the gloves were not correct. That's what he's alleging. And that is libelous, said Warren. Furthermore, he claimed that the boxer founder can't ask for an investigation when he does not even have the gloves. Warren once again termed the claims as baseless before threatening that he would take this issue to higher authorities. The BBBofC checks and approves all gloves at the Friday meeting. No issues were raised. I will be taking Shalom to the board for bringing the sport into disrepute with this libelous allegation, added Warren. However, Frank Warren expects Ben Shalom to issue an apology to everyone involved and urges that it be delivered promptly. He believes that the longer Shalom delayed, the more it would ultimately cost him. Warren made it clear that he wants no part of the ongoing discussion surrounding the matter.
Kind of apology from Ben. What are you expecting to happen from this situation?
I expect an apology to everybody concerned, and I expect him to do it quickly, because the longer he leaves it, the more it's going to come.
David Adderley commented on the controversy, noting that the situation was clear-cut. He pointed out that the inspectors and all involved parties were responsible for their duties before the fight. If they didn't identify any issues at that time, he argued, they couldn't just raise concerns after the fact now that the match was underway.
I mean, he got caught clean, didn't he? I suppose the inspectors and all the people do their job beforehand. And if they didn't see nothing wrong beforehand, they can't really go and say something now.
Fabio Wardley's manager, Michael Magic, addressed the claims, stating there was no truth to the accusations. He clarified that the gloves in question were not custom gloves, but standard fly gloves with custom colors, similar to what other fighters commonly wore. Maguire emphasized that he was present during the rules meeting and the glove inspection, asserting that the Boxing Board of Control conducted their usual procedures without any favoritism or deviation from standard practice.
Yes, there's no truth to it. They weren't custom gloves. They were custom colors, standard fly gloves. You can see these guys wearing fly gloves. There's no difference. I was there in the rules meeting. I was there when the gloves were inspected. The Boxing Board of Control done their normal job. There was no favoritism, or there was nothing different from any other day.
Michael declared the accusations were outright lies intended to undermine Fabio's victory, emphasizing that the gloves were standard fly gloves approved by the board. He suggested that the person making those claims would have to face the consequences for such reckless comments. He stated, "It's all lies. He's trying to discredit Fabio's victory. You know, there was nothing custom about those gloves. They were approved by the board. They were normal fly gloves that every fighter wears, and there's no basis that he has, and he has to pay for it. You know, you can't just go around making comments like that. Who do you think you are?" Johnny Nelson remarked that there was no need to sympathize with Ben, as criticism was part of the job. He noted that newcomers always face scrutiny, citing that both Frank and Eddie had experienced it before. Now it was simply Ben's turn.
It's difficult. I don't sympathise with him because that's part of the job. Accept it. That's how it is. So that's just how it is. It's going to happen to anybody. Any new kid on the block is going to get it. Both Frank got it and Eddie got it. Now Ben's got it. So it's nothing new. It's just one of those things.
A few days ago, Fabio Wardley stunned the world when he defeated Fraser Clarke via a first-round technical knockout. It was a sensational performance in Riyadh that sent shockwaves as Clarke left the ring with a visible dent on his face. But the post-fight controversy took center stage when the head of Boxer and Fraser Clarke's promoter Ben Shalom questioned the gloves used by Wardley during the fight. The British Boxing Board of Control's chief medical officer, Neil Scott, revealed after the fight that Clarke's is an unusual injury to sustain in the ring, and he warned that it would feel very painful for the 33-year-old. "It's not common. We don't see it that often at all," Scott told Sky Sports. "Visually, it looks alarming because you see someone essentially with a big dent on the side of their face. It must be extremely painful, and it must be quite distressing as well. With the size of the glove, it's not something that we see in boxing. It must be a tremendous amount of power to do that. A tremendous amount." According to Scott, an injury on Clarke's head that is typically caused by bricks. The doctor in question, Neil Scott, spoke to Sky Sports, and he said he has never seen an injury from a gloved fist as severe as the one Clarke suffered on Saturday night in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. "I'm a maxillofacial surgeon in the NHS, and typically, those kind of injuries are caused by bricks."
To say the least, you know, of all eventualities, I never thought that would happen to me. You never do as a fighter. But I'm healthy, I'm back with my family, and that's the main thing, you know. Massive thank you to everyone involved over in Saudi Arabia that looked after me because they was unbelievable. You know, my partner, she was unbelievable.
After experiencing the first loss of his professional career, Clarke announced that he has no plans to retire from boxing. In an interview with TalkSport, the heavyweight star Fraser Clarke expressed his devastation following the fight. While his pride has taken a hit, he is confident that his fighting spirit will lead him to a comeback. He recognized the difficult journey ahead, but remains dedicated to putting in the effort and pursuing his goals once more. The Saudi advisor Turki Al-Sheikh reportedly contacted a leading surgeon. waking them up to ensure Clarke received the best treatment possible in the early hours of Sunday morning, 13 October. 2 fractures to the cheekbone. The recovery is going to be between 8 and 12 weeks, Clarke told TalkSport. They told me that surgery went exactly as they wanted it to, and that it will heal stronger than before. A massive thank you to everyone in Saudi Arabia who looked after me, because they were unbelievable. My partner, she was unbelievable. I'm grateful because at the time it looked very bad for me, but I'm grateful. Gareth A. Davies, and provided an update on his health. Davies turned to his X handle and disclosed the conversation he had with Clarke. The boxing journalist revealed that the boxer was feeling okay, but his jaw was wired and had 3 breaks. He wrote, "Just chatted to Big Frey's boxer at the airport in Riyadh 5 minutes ago. His wife was with him. He is feeling okay. Jaw is wired. Showed me pictures of the breaks. 3, I think. We on same flight to London overnight. V pleased to know that FC is okay." Davis then shared the message that Clarke asked him to tell Wardley. The Staffordshire native admitted that he had never been hit that hard. Davis penned, "Frey's said to tell big Fabio Wardley. Well done, mate. I've been in boxing a very long time and no one has ever hit that hard. I'm proud of the 30 we've had together. Really pleased to see Big Frey's on way home." Heart lifted. Fabio Wardley's manager, Michael Magic, shared his concerns, describing the situation as quite alarming and expressing his wishes for a quick recovery for Fraser Clarke. He acknowledged the courage of the fighters, highlighting that they risk their lives in the ring. As a fan, he conveyed his profound respect and admiration for both athletes, hoping to see Clarke return to the ring even stronger than before.
Very scary, and I hope that he has a speedy recovery. You know, these guys are warriors and they put their life on the line. So even as a fan, I've got so much respect for them, and I've got love for both of them, and I want to see Fraser Clarke make a speedy recovery and come back again.
David Coldwell characterized the knockout as horrific, pointing out the impact of the blow that created a visible indentation in the fighter's skull. He recalled a close-up shot in which the fighter struggled to get back up, his face revealing signs of distress. Initially, it appeared that the fighter's expression had frozen in shock, underscoring the seriousness of the situation. He stated, "Yeah, it was awful. To see that shot, there was this indentation in his skull, basically. Then, when you saw the camera close up, he was trying to pull himself up, and his mouth, it looked like his face had frozen." David Coldwell added that in boxing, a punch to the head can activate a protective response, leading the brain to temporarily shut down. He pointed out that when a fighter isn't completely knocked out, they often have difficulty regaining their composure. While he felt relieved that the fighter appeared to be okay, he expressed worry about the noticeable dent in the head, suggesting it could indicate serious issues, such as potential damage to the skull or an orbital fracture. Coldwell emphasized his hope for a full recovery.
This is boxing, you know, when you get punched in the head, you know yourself, it does things to you, and then your brain switches back on, resets itself, and you get knocked out because your brain's protecting it, switches off. But when you're not quite out there, it's trying to figure itself out, and that's what it did. Luckily, I mean, it seems all right, but it's the dent in his head. You know, that looks awful. I mean, that can be, it can be a dent in the skull. It can be eye socket, maybe orbital fracture. I don't know. I just want to make sure you get.
So, what are your thoughts on this? Do you think Wardley's team has cheated? Share your thoughts in the comment section and make sure to subscribe and like if you enjoyed the video.